Welcome to the dark and mysterious world of the Mafia, where power, betrayal, and revenge intertwine to create a thrilling saga. In today's story, join us as we follow the journey of Ilina De Luca, the ruthless and cunning queen of the Dark Knights. This is a tale full of secrets and tension that will keep you hooked until the very end. If you're ready to uncover the hidden truths of this world, be subscribed to the channel so you never miss an exciting story. Let's dive into Ilina's world. Her journey is just beginning. Ilina De Luca entered the underworld at a young age for the sake of her family. Her father, one of the biggest mafia bosses, was murdered on a mysterious night. Ilina witnessed this crime and swore from that moment on to both avenge her father and take his place. She started at the bottom, but over time her intelligence and strategies brought her to the top. Now she is one of the most influential mafia leaders in Europe. The story begins as Ilina meets with one of her father's old partners, Francesco, in an old dark cafe that only Ilina's trusted people can enter. Francesco, who has lived in the shadows for years, warns Ilina about a major threat. Rumor has it that a mysterious group called the Shadow Hunters is planning to destroy the De Luca family. Upon hearing this, Ilina decides to take the initiative. Instead of waiting for danger, she will hunt down this group and eliminate any threats before they reach her. She leaves the cafe and orders one of her assistants to track down all members of this group and lure them into a trap. Her spies find one of the Shadow Hunters' hideouts, and with precision, they gather confidential information. Ilina learns that this group is led by a man named Antonio Ricardo, a man with a mysterious past who seeks to seize mafia power for himself. Quickly formulating a plan, Ilina collects information through mutual friends and enemies to uncover Antonio's weaknesses. She also needs to deal with internal issues, as some of her own people have been leaking information to the Shadow Hunters. Ilina devises a complex trap, planning a fake meeting to lure Antonio. She presents herself as vulnerable, but she has eyes on Antonio's every move. At the right moment, she and her trusted associates ambush the location and take control. Antonio and his men fall into her trap, but at the last moment he manages to escape. For Ilina, this escape signifies the beginning of another war. She decides to track down Antonio and finish him off once and for all. Before long, Ilina discovers that Antonio was merely a piece in a much larger puzzle. In the final scene, she finds a handwritten note that reads, "The game has only just begun. We have yet to take our revenge." After Antonio's escape, Ilina immediately gathers her closest advisors. She knows that confronting a group like the Shadow Hunters alone is impossible. She needs new allies. Recalling old records and connections from her father's time, she remembers a man named Alexei Koltsov, the leader of a Russian crime syndicate. Alexei and Ilina's father had shared alliances, but their relationship faded after her father's death. Ilina travels to Moscow and meets with Alexei, who is captivated by her power and charisma. She explains that the Shadow Hunters threaten not only the De Luca family, but all mafia organizations globally. Alexei agrees to an alliance to confront the Shadow Hunters together. Meanwhile, unrest brews within Ilina's organization. One of her senior aides, Julio, begins acting suspiciously. He's been leaking crucial information, alerting the Shadow Hunters to her plans. Ilina decides to test him by assigning a seemingly simple mission to Paris and providing him with false information. Within days, the Shadow Hunters act on this information, confirming Julio's betrayal. She swiftly ends his life. Ilina's spies inform her of a major Shadow Hunter hideout on the outskirts of Milan. With Alexei and their forces, they infiltrate the hideout, successfully capturing a key Shadow Hunter leader, Diego Franco. Under Ilina's interrogation, Diego reveals secrets about the group's structure and future plans. He confesses that the shadow hunters are led by a mysterious council, of which Antonio is just one member. This council comprises 5 individuals worldwide, all seeking to eliminate Mafia leaders and seize control of the underworld. Determined to dismantle this council, Ilina sets her sights on Martina, the queen of the Mexican cartel. With Alexei, she travels to Mexico and confronts Martina. Despite respecting Ilina's power, Martina refuses to surrender. A battle of queens ensues, but Ilina prevails and strikes a deal. Martina will share information about the other council members, and in return, Ilina allows her to maintain control over her cartel. Now, with 4 of the 5 council members identified, Ilina plans a series of attacks. But she receives a letter from Antonio inviting her to New York, where the shadow hunters are ready to face her. She knows it could be a trap, but she accepts, determined to end this conflict once and for all. Ilina and her team head to New York and finally reach the shadow hunters' central headquarters. In a dark room filled with strange masks, she confronts the remaining council members. With precision and strategy, she takes them down one by one. But when she reaches Antonio, she uncovers a horrifying secret. Antonio was just a pawn, and the true leader of the shadow hunters is still alive and hidden. From Antonio, Ilina learns that the real mastermind is Alexander Marcus, a powerful man posing as a global philanthropist and businessman. Marcus, a longtime enemy of her father, plans to destroy the De Luca family entirely and sees Ilina as his final obstacle. Discovering that Marcus is hiding in Miami, Ilina decides to pursue him and bring this story to a close. She heads to Miami with Alexei and a group of her most trusted allies. They track Marcus down, fighting through bloody skirmishes with his men. Finally, Ilina reaches Marcus's grand mansion, which serves as his headquarters. She sneaks inside and confronts him. In a desperate move, Marcus offers her an alliance, proposing that together they could build a larger empire and dominate the underworld. But for the first time, Ilina considers something beyond revenge and power. She tells Marcus that she came for vengeance and would never join someone who sought to destroy her family. In their final battle, Ilina ends Marcus's life with a single bullet. With Marcus dead, Ilina finally achieves her goal. Yet she feels an unusual emptiness. She has spent her entire life in darkness and conflict, but with her enemies vanquished, she experiences freedom for the first time. She and Alexei step onto the mansion's rooftop and gaze out over the city in silence. Alexei asks her what she will do now that she has everything. Ilina smiles softly and replies, "It's time to leave this life behind and start anew in peace and quiet." Ilina decides to leave her throne, seeking a new life away from power, betrayal, and bloodshed. She sets off on a journey toward the unknown, hoping to rediscover the true meaning of life. And thus, the Queen of the Dark Nights fades away into the light of the coming days, unseen by anyone.